Welcome to Access Zen with Gregory Foster. Our program will help you set a more perfect balance between your inner world and the outside world. And now, here's your host, Gregory Foster.
And welcome everyone to a new episode of Access Zen Radio. How's everyone doing out there today? This is the second part of a two-part episode featuring the incredible music of Marty Walker. And on last week's show, she played some beautiful sacred songs, and this week she's going to crank it up. Also joining the show in our second part is Chef Be Live, who fixed us a wonderful raw food lunch. He's going to be on the show today to tell us more about that. So let's go ahead and let's just kick it off. Here's Marty.
Yoga, para te patumare, para te रघुपति के दास श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम 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 तुम्हारे भजन रम को पावे जन्म जन्म की तुक बिसरावे अमृत काल रघुबरपुर जाई जहान जन्मारी भक्त कहाई और देवत चित्तन जाई हनुमत से सर्व सुख करई संकट कटे मिटे सब पीरा जो सुमिरे हनुमत बल बीर जय 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 हनुमान गोसाई कृपा करहु गुरुदेव की नाई जो सत बार पत कर कोई छूट ही बंदी महासुख होई जो यहाँ पारे हनुमान चालीसा होया सिद्धि सखी गौरी तुलसीदास सदा हरि चेर कीजे नत हृदय मंदिरा श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम श्री राम जय राम जय जय राम
Okay, and we're back, folks. Good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world that's listening to this show, and thank you so much for joining us out there. That was Radio Gaga Chalisha. More music to come today from Marty Walker. As I told you last week, we did a 2-part show with Marty Walker, and while she's not in the studio with us today, we do have the man of the hour who gave us the most delicious food I've ever eaten from a raw, vegan point of view. So on this show, Chef B Live is going to be joining us in very couple seconds. I'm looking at him right now. He's making faces at me, folks. I hope you've got some more food lined up for us, Chef.
Well, you didn't tell me to bring any today.
Man.
But
we'll get to that.
Oh yeah, there'll be more in the future, believe me.
So I wanted to share with you that while Marty's not with us, her music is. And we're going to be dropping in tracks in between Chef getting us healthy and active and in the best shape of our lives from an eating perspective. Is that right?
Yeah. And from what I've heard, it's definitely more of an upbeat type. I don't know, that stuff from Mercedes, she has an eclectic and a very wide array of different stuff. And this is more of kind of like an upbeat rock style, and which goes kind of cool with the, rock star image, RAWK. Get it? Raw food.
I like it.
That I like to portray.
So your real name is Brian Lucas.
Yes, Brian James Lucas.
Brian James Lucas. So tell the listeners all about who you are and what your message is to the world from an eating and food perspective.
Well, okay, because you started that out, I'm like, okay, from a food and eating perspective, that condenses
broad
it.
Subject, right?
Because that was a broad subject for a moment there. From an eating perspective, I truly love to tantalize people through the taste buds in a very energetic and healthy, very vital way of eating by eating raw plant-based foods. I see myself as a transitional chef, as someone who helps someone enter through into this type of eating through their palate, through an incredibly taste bud tantalizing experience.
So last week when you were making the food, you were telling me a story, and I wanted you to share this with the listeners. Forgive me if it's a little personal, but I know that when you were a child, you had an incident that happened and kind of shaped your life from a health perspective.
Very much so. I was 12 years old. At the time, I had before that, let me rewind a little bit.
Sure.
I had been allergic to dairy products, and I had asthma, like a serious case of asthma. So once I was 12 years old, all of a sudden I had 3 near-death experiences. One, which actually I flatlined it when I experienced it.
And you were how old?
I was 12 years old.
Whoa.
White light experience that I can remember vividly to this moment.
Share that with us,
Well,
if you can.
the last thing I remembered, as I could not breathe, I remember my looking up and seeing my mother and my brother crying, and my dad to the other side of me, and I remember my next door neighbor who was a doctor running into the house. I remember them like giving me a shot, and then the next thing I know, it was dark, and then I was walking towards this white light doorway up this hallway, and I started making out figures on both sides of me. And when I noticed who they were, it was the superheroes from the Hall of Justice: Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman, Aquaman, all particularly the DC comic book superheroes.
That makes sense.
And they were my spirit guides. They were my angels, whatever you want to call it. They were there to give me strength, and they had a reassuring grin, and they also had their arms folded like superheroes would, like the Hall of Justice,
Strong,
giving them strength and power. And as I walked past them, and as I was walking into the light, all of a sudden, bam, I was back in my body, and I was pulling up into the emergency room with my dad, and in our van. I remember the next thing was I was in an intensive care unit, and then as a result of that, they removed half my stomach. They replaced it with some type of a Gore-Tex material, and so that
what was
there
the cause?
was a very traumatic. It was an acute case of acid reflux.
Really?
Yes. And so my duodenum or duodenum, I always get that pronunciation wrong. It was broken, and it was letting acids up into my esophagus
like a leak
and lungs.
In there. Okay. Wow.
Yeah, it's like a trap door that lets food into your stomach, and it was like going both ways. So basically, they removed half my stomach, and my doctor told me that I would never be able to gain weight. And I was telling you this also.
Yes.
And
you bought into that, right?
I bought into it. He wasn't intentionally doing that. But
he was doing his job.
He was doing his job.
Trying to prepare you.
Yeah. And I took it as that I would never be able to gain muscle mass. So for 40 years of my life.
You bought into that limiting belief.
I never tried. I created this. I see it more as that I created this belief, and that I created this program. And then I fed myself into it by saying it over and over again, because, words and thoughts are powerful, and they're things, they're energetic, like powerful, they create. And recently, about 4 months ago, a friend of mine, he's a raw vegan bodybuilder, Greek god. We had a discussion, and he told me, he said, B-Live, you had half of your stomach removed, and they said that you'd never be able to gain weight, but with the way you eat, you have proper digestion. You are assimilating, you are absorbing on a very, very high level. He said, just because you can't gain weight and you had half of your stomach removed doesn't mean you can't gain muscle mass. And so since then, I've been like working out. I've been kind of shying away from the yoga. I've been doing a little bit of that, whereas I was doing a lot prior. And I've been focusing on the bodybuilding, but with the raw and superfood, like probiotics, and just like powering my body up for that, like to build my muscles.
So now, listeners, I want to let you know that Chef B-Live is a very thin, well-groomed man. He's got it going on. And how much weight have you gained since you started this new program?
Weight-wise, about 5 pounds in 4 months.
But more muscle,
right? Muscle-wise, I've gained an inch in my bicep and a little over an inch in my thigh. And I couldn't even do like 3 push-ups at the beginning. Now I can do like 40, and it's built up quick.
So here's the irony to this. Because if someone met you, maybe even before you started working out, and they heard you were eating raw food, they would say, see, that guy's so skinny that's why, right?
Absolutely. I've had it happen many times. And, and then I have to go into that old program about how I had half of my stomach removed, blah, blah, blah.
And they don't believe you.
And whatever. The fact is that it's creating that empowering belief or disempowering belief that I can't gain muscle mass or weight. So I've just kind of completely shifted that and redirected it. Look at my before and after pictures. I was like, you can see a difference. I was a beanpole. I was a toothpick. And now I'm thin, but it's building quick.
So I want to stay with the stereotype. And I will tell you, maybe there's a better name for raw food because, and I'll be very candid with you.
Yeah.
7-8 years ago, before I got into my yoga, hiking, healthy eating perspective, when someone said raw food, I ran. And some people would serve it up to me and they would sneak a bite and it didn't taste good, right?
Well, that's unfortunately, that's still a common practice as far as like a lot of people who prepare raw foods. They give people a bad experience, flavor. People are they're in society, we're brought up to eat flavorful food. And so that's another reason why I see myself as like this doorkeeper, as this gateway to show people that they can have a really amazing experience through the flavor and then open up their awareness that it can taste good. And I think that's a very important part. As far as like the term raw, I've had that thought as well in the past. It just has at the same time this huge following now, and it's just growing and growing and growing. So we've almost transcended that word, because when I first was turned on to raw foods, the actual concepts of it, I thought, why would I want to go eat at a raw restaurant? I could have orange and apple at my house, So I kind of had the same thing, It wasn't that I was turned off because raw, like raw meat or raw, I was just like, what?
So let me ask. So let's get into the definition. What is raw, and how? And we're going to go on a break shortly, and we're going to play a couple more songs, upbeat songs from Marty. We're going to rock the house. Share with our listeners from that point of view on raw food.
Well, there is raw food. And that means anything, any type of produce, nuts, seeds, fruits, vegetables that have been not heated up past 118 degrees. And anything above that, that's when enzymes
118
die.
degrees.
118 degrees. That's when enzymes die. That's when minerals, vitamins
get depleted from the foods.
Get depleted.
So that's really the reason.
That's the terminology. That's what raw means right there. And it's definitely because of the enzymes and the minerals. Well, enzymes are actually what break down proteins into amino acids, fats into fatty acids, carbs into glucose. They're what break down the food. We need enzymes to assimilate our food, to absorb and get the minerals and the vitamins and the nutrients.
When we come back from the break, I want you to tell me more about that, as well as, and let me just tickle the listener's fancy here, you got a book out there called The Orgasm of the Taste Buds.
Yes, I do. It's an ebook. It's a teaser version of my future bound book.
And you got lots of recipes on there to share with us.
Yeah, there's some amazing ones, or
Yummy.
raw amazing ones.
We'll talk about the desserts because I really want the listeners to know that.
Okay.
So before we go to a break, we're going to play a new song from Marty Walker off her CD Revolution, who was on our show last week. And the song is called Tribal Nam. Please enjoy.
Yeah.
We'll see you back after the break.
I think now we should start. Hare Krishna.
Hari Haraya Namah Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshvaya Namaha
Hare Krishna.
Gopala Govinda Rama Shri Madhusudana Giridhari Gopinatha Madana Mohanna Krishnaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Ichai Gosai Kore Charla Bandana. Yahamoite Vijnana Savishta Purana. Ichai Gosai Jai Muit Aradasa. Dança para Padarino Mora Panchakras. Hariharaya Namaha Krishnaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Kundera Charana Sevi Bhaktasane Vasa. Janame Janame Hoye Abhilas. Ichai Gosai Jandi Vraji Kulavasa. Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash. Hariharaya Namaha Krishnaya Yadavaya Namaha. Yadavaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Namaha. Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavana. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Jai Amanda. Shri Guru Vaishnava Padma Kuriyash. Nama Sankirtana Kohilaro Damadas. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare. Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare.
And now, let's return to Access Zen.
And we're back. We're back
Yeah.
from the break. How about that song, huh?
Woohoo! Yeah.
That was Tribal Nam from Marty Walker, another really upbeat song.
Yeah, she's
Isn't that
great.
quite the contrast from last week? And
It
they
is.
just balance each other so well. So, Chef Be Live, I have to tell you, I'm very impressed with this award you've won. Best Gourmet Raw Chef in the World 2010. Is that for real? Is that true, or is that a typo?
Yeah, no, that was the case. 2009, I won 5th place out of 6 placings. 2010, I won. Oh, nope. I'm sorry. 2008, I won 5th place. 2009, I won 3rd place. And then I took 1st place last year in the Best of Raw Awards.
Wow, the Best of Raw Awards. And I have to tell you, I'm not sure that I've heard of that. Tell us more about the Best of Raw Food Awards.
If you go to bestofraw.net, Laura Fox, she's the one that's worked so hard to put her energy and time into the awards. It's the only raw food awards, and there's many different categories. One of them being Best Gourmet Raw Chef, and it was such a blessing. When I won the award, I swear I felt like I won a Rosker, which is actually what we've come to call them. So
you're very famous in your own category around the world, and I want to share with the listeners, and I want you to tell me the story. I'm hearing that you were also a big part of the Oscars and the Emmys. Tell us about that.
Well, gosh, infamous maybe.
Oh yeah?
But I did have involvement with the Oscars and the Emmys, and I had my ebook that we were just talking about a little bit ago included in the Academy Awards, the quote unquote Oscars nominee gift bags.
This was just recent, right?
Yeah, the very last ones
in LA. Okay, gotcha.
Yes, and then in the Emmy gift bags, the last ones, I actually had some of my kale chips in them, which is really cool.
So you're hobnobbing with all the famous people.
It's fun. I don't really want to mention the person that I'm doing personal chef work a couple times a week for. I mean, very high caliber, probably one of the most wealthiest families in the world.
Wow.
And I've worked with a lot of celebrities, and right now I'm creating a TV show with a Food Network producer and an Oprah Network producer, a BeLive television show. It's going to be a combination of a lifestyle / reality / stand and stir TV show just surrounding my life, which is really my passion. I'm really excited about it, and that's what I'm focusing on right now.
Well, that is some pretty amazing stuff.
Totally.
When can we expect to see the show? And before you answer that, I want to share with the listeners to get an idea of what Chef BeLive is like. We can see you on YouTube, correct?
You can, yeah. I have a YouTube channel. It's youtube.com/Chef BeLive, BeLive, light, LIGHT.com. Oh, no, sorry, youtube.com/Chef BeLive light.
We will give you another chance to say that at the end of the show. But let me tell you what impressed me is that you've got it in multiple languages. And I'm not just talking like American and English, but Mongolian. Can you believe that?
Oh, yeah, well, that...
And that close to my heart because my lovely, beautiful wife is from Mongolia.
That's awesome. Yeah, I've done a couple TV shows for Supreme Master TV, and they put it in 50 languages, Mongolian being one of them.
That's amazing.
It's really
cool. She came running out all excited and says, "Oh my God, you can't believe this! He's got it in my language." And I'm like, "Wow, that was very impressive."
That was them. I'm just being myself, and they were an awesome production team and television network to work with, and
how often does your show? How often do you have new episodes on the YouTube?
Oh well, the YouTube shows are raw. Those are me with my phone, literally doing episodes, just as raw as it gets. Just me
You're
on
in
the fly.
Flow. You're in the
flow. Yeah,
beautiful.
And what you're talking about, it was an actual TV episode that I did for this network, and it's on my homepage. So I've done a few different shows for them.
So this is all helping you prepare you for your television show. Is that right?
It is, definitely.
So, and I'm going to get into, the subject we talked about before the break, the orgasm of the taste buds, and I love that title, by the way, I have to tell you. But we were talking, at the beginning of the show, folks' perceptions out there of raw foods, and I want to share a little funny story with you. So there was this event, and I won't mention any of the parties, a few years ago. And we were asked to bring desserts because this is close to my heart. I love desserts. I think you know that. And so I brought 2 bags of cookies. One were these Uncle Eddie's vegan chocolate chip. And if you've had those, I see you nodding your head. Those are to die for. They are absolutely delicious. When you look at the ingredient, there isn't anything unhealthy in that entire bag,
Yeah.
and they taste better than anything you've ever had right off the griddle. I also had a regular bag of chocolate chip cookies, and I went in and I purposely left. I did a little experiment. I wanted to see what people's perceptions were. I had a couple of bags, and then I switched them. And it was amazing to watch people go up to the cookies that were labeled raw or organic, vegan in this case, and walk away like, oh, I'm not going to touch that. That's terrible. And then going over to the other bag, of course, mislabeled, and eating the organic cookie and going, Greg, these are the most delicious cookies I've ever had. And that's your cue to talk to me about desserts.
Well, like that's what I love to do. I love to create mock versions of cooked recipes that just simply make your mouth water. And, when it comes down to desserts, we can pretty much mock anything. And there is, of course, some things that just can't be made raw.
And by mock, you mean like emulate.
When I say mock, I mean emulate, fake. But it's more like I like the term emulate. I think I'm going to use that one from now on.
A big word.
Thank you.
So, what's your website? And there's a reason I'm asking. Give me your website address real quick.
My website is www.chefblive.com.
chefblive.com.
Correct.
That's incredible. You've got some photographs on there that when I look at them, they are obscene in how beautiful they are. And you've even titled the click button. What do you title it? What's it called?
I call it food porn.
And I see this connection with sex and food. Is that subconscious or intentional?
There's some subconscious. No, it was an intentional place that I did it on purpose. But
certainly got my attention.
It's what you get when you take a bite of something that just bursts in flavors. It's like an orgasm of the taste buds.
Yes.
And when you look at something that just like pops like a picture, and you're like, oh my God. Like, just how beautiful it can look. It's like, and it's food, cuisine, food porn. I
think
can't
it's appropriate.
coin that term because that's a term that's already been used for really beautiful looking food. But, that's why I named it that.
That's really beautiful. So I want to welcome the listeners to go to that site, click on that button, food porn. And it isn't pornographic. It is safe, parents. There's nothing pornographic on the site. It's all a play on words, so you're safe. But I challenge you to take a look at that chocolate mousse pie you've got in there, and I want you to tell me what's in that because I want you to make me that next time.
Okay. Yeah, that's an avocado based. You would never know it when you taste it. When you have chocolate mousse, it tastes exactly like chocolate mousse. All of my food is 100% plant-based.
Wow.
Almost 100% raw. I would say that it is, but I do sometimes use ingredients like nutritional yeast or maple syrup or agave syrup, which aren't raw, but it's a very low percentage when I do use them.
Natural sweeteners.
Always organic, always natural sweeteners.
Unprocessed.
I do prefer dates, which are raw. But like as far as that mousse pie goes, it's an avocado base with raw chocolate, and which we actually is called cacao, and then the top layer, the whipped cream type, creamy layer, is a cashew coconut vanilla frosting or layer.
So if folks don't have a chance to partake of your food live, and obviously we listen to people all over the world are listening to the show. Thank you. Where can they go in their local places from a guidance perspective to start to know where to find good organic food? And I would say start with the dessert because that's really a good place to start, right? It'll change your whole perception of raw foods. I guarantee it.
Definitely. Well, like the health food stores are growing and growing. So that's really the number one place set aside from online.
Would like a Whole Foods?
Like a Whole Foods.
Okay.
A lot of Whole Foods.
Mother's
have them
Market.
now. Mother's. Yeah, depending on where you're at. Whole Foods is a good one because it's all over the world now, specifically all over the United States. But online, there's websites like rawguru.com that have amazing products that you can buy. Most of them obviously are dehydrated, but you can buy certain raw food products from these websites and have them shipped directly to you. You can also make them yourself, hence why, you can go out there and go on my website and buy my ebook, Orgasm of the Taste Buds. There's 30 recipes there, and almost all of them are simple to make. And right now, I'm actually giving an offer, if you don't mind me sharing.
Yeah, please.
And it's going to be for a very limited time at this point. But for the next month or so, if you contact me and you've heard of this offer, I'm still going to honor it. So basically, if you buy
heard that
one,
live here, folks.
yeah, you heard it. So if you buy one, I'm giving 5 away for you to give to people who can't afford one or who wouldn't buy one, who you'd like to inspire.
Wow. That's very generous. And how spiritual of you. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. Thank you.
So I want to just highlight this, and then we're gonna kind of bring us back to actually where we started the show at, the experience you had in the light, because I want to know about your spiritual philosophy or perspectives. So before we get there, just real quickly, if I'm a person driving in my car listening to the show, or I'm listening to it on the podcast, accessnradio.com, where you can get our shows at, I got to ask you, so if I'm driving in my car and I'm listening to this, I'm like, well, that's all well and good, great, but why would I want to trouble myself? I love Big Macs. I love, milk. I love regular products. Why? I know you said something about enzymes, but why would I want to incorporate this as part of my diet? Maybe I don't want to go, cold turkey and hardcore, but is it okay for me to incorporate this, and why would I want to do that?
Well, I encourage anyone to just take a small baby step into it, like eat an apple, eat a salad more, eat just one
Speaking
thing.
of which, our engineer sitting right next to me, eating an apple.
He is. That's
Thank
awesome.
you, Tom.
I didn't even notice that.
Corner of my eye.
Yeah, so basically,
Slipped it in.
just don't torture yourself. If you feel like it resonates with you, then maybe take a bigger step, go find a book. There's plenty of books out there by many raw educators, plenty of raw food recipe books, plenty of online videos. If you just Google raw food, you'll see how much information there is out there. It is not a small scene. We just reached $1 billion industry last year. So it's growing and growing, pun intended. But as far as the why, I mean, really, I kind of have to take it back to the enzyme, nutrient dense, mineral, vitamin rich. I mean, we have been like, our society has been programmed into actually and been fed like genetically modified foods.
Yes.
Like, come on, like chemical and pesticide ridden. It's just like there's a good reason why you should at least take a look.
And we've had from Ginger's Garden, Vicky Vodon on a couple shows. I don't know if you had a chance to listen to that.
Love her.
But Vicky will take you down that path. And I will tell you, and you can listen to that show. I don't want to bore anybody here today. But it changed my life. I started really eating. And I still eat cooked foods. I want to make that really clear. But I mix in. And we eat a delicious green drink in the morning. We have raw desserts because my favorite, and other things my wife makes. It has made a great difference in my health, and I still eat all the regular stuff too. It's all about balance, right?
Absolutely, and you will notice a difference just by incorporating a little more in your life. It will help you feel better,
More energy. Okay, great. So I want to take you back down the spiritual path, and folks, we're going to close with a very upbeat song from Marty Walker's CD after we, walk through this process. It's called Shiva's Dance, and it will rock the house. It's definitely something you want to crank up and dance to. I want to leave you with a very upbeat moment. But taking you back, and by the way, Chef Be Live, I always say AKA Brian Lucas, because really he's known as Chef Be Live, but your real name is Brian Lucas.
Yes.
Just want to share that. Brian James Lucas, you say.
Yeah.
I want to take you back to 12 years old and the experience in light. And I want to share with you that was a very moving moment for me, and there was a lot of energy created, but I wanted to come back to that. So I've heard a lot of stories about folks who've had these afterlife experiences. And they all seem to have a similar quality, that they may see somebody in the tunnel that they recognize. In your case, it was superheroes. And here's what jumped out for me. You were 12 years old. Who were the people in your mind, in your vision, that you felt the most safest with? And I felt the same way. Superman for me. And so you're going through this incredible experience. And clearly, we talked about this on last week's show, spiritual beings having a human experience, or human beings having a spiritual experience. Either way, it's all intersected. Mm-hmm. So when you left your body in that hospital and you went into the light, there were 4 beings there waiting for you. And I'm sure there was a little bit of showmanship with those beings in that light to show you an image, and in my opinion, a symbol that you're going to be okay.
That's exactly what it was.
That's what came
It's-
forward for me. I
it
just wanted to
was
share that with you.
Absolutely what it was. And if it hadn't been for that, then I might have just went into the light and went on to my next body or went to dust or whatever that it is afterwards. That it was the reassurance that I was going to be okay. And that I need, and then when I came back out of the light into my body, I was okay for the moment, and of course, until we ended up in surgery and I was into the intensive care unit, but
What a beautiful image to come back to when you have a tough time, knowing you're going to get through this. You're going to be all right.
Beautiful. It was incredible. I mean, just like I said, I can remember it vividly to this very moment. And it's funny that we're going to end with a song of Shiva, because Shiva is about transformation, the destroyer, like breaking through the walls of illusion. And that's really what that was doing for me, because after that, my life just was different, in a good way, because from then on, I was just very experiential. I just really wanted to find a different way, find myself. And in the end, I became this spiritual alchemist. I became this, what I like to call a Harley Christian,
Yes.
embodying love, embodying like truth and integrity, and coming from heart consciousness, so that was, and it wasn't the beginning, because I remember back when I was 2 years old singing with my Onward Christian Soldiers with my dad, and
Sure.
and it was past life stuff, I believe.
Yeah.
But I
hear you.
of course, my own personal theories and belief, but it,
And
it was a very
experiences.
very big mark in time for me, and transformational.
That is really absolutely beautiful. Now, I want to share before we, close the show, that you have had some difficult times in your life. Is that right?
Yeah, I've had a lot of leaps and bounds.
Do you want to share any of those with the listeners?
I mean, I honestly, I've had so many. It's like, where do I start? Really, it's like, and then each one, comes to a point, a pinnacle of like where I just give in and let go, and just am reminded that everything's going to be okay. And then I'm shown by each one that the reason why it happened, and how powerful it was, and how everything that I did was was perfect.
Happened in your highest good.
In the highest good. Every single step that I made, every single mistake was actually a gift and a lesson for me to grow from. I don't know if you might be, just in, I don't know. I'm feeling where that's going, but like, it's pretty cool because synchronistically I get here and Marty's here.
Yes.
I met Marty for the first time during one of my transformational experiences, being when I was in federal prison
Wow.
for marijuana distribution.
Yes.
And the band that she was in at the time, Shakti Tribe, came and played the prison.
Wow.
And that was just right there. That was a transformational experience for me, because when I went in there, I was a raw foodist. I'm like, I'm going to be raw. I only had to do 90 days, so I knew that I could achieve it. And when I went in there, I had no idea, but there was a psychologist that taught Kundalini yoga and Tibetan meditation and was into raw foods.
Very spiritual person.
Yeah, there was not only that, but Agape Spiritual Center was going there.
Wow.
All these different levels of
So you
spirituality.
got all the love you needed.
I go in there and I'm like a prophet or a Jedi, because there's already like 100 brothers learning about the stuff that I'm living. And so it was really powerful. I wrote and wrote till I had blisters. Came up with about 400 pages worth of writing that I plan on writing into a transformational book. And it was just
Beautiful.
one of those times. And I have many other times in my life. And that was really the cherry on the sundae for me.
And that's how you met her. And I don't know if we had a chance to talk about that last week with Marty, but
No.
Marty and I have that in common. I Freedom to Choose project that I do. I go up to the
I
Choctaw
realized
Lodge.
this. It's so awesome.
Beautiful connection.
I mean, come on. Synchromystical, right?
Yes, it really is. And the concept that we're all spiritual beings having a
Yes.
human experience, meaning no judgment.
No.
Everyone makes mistakes.
Yeah.
Everyone does things. It's about what you do with those mistakes and change your life.
Absolutely.
And I'm looking at a changed person.
No, thank you.
You're a beautiful
I'm
person.
feeling so beautiful. I was feeling beautiful then, and I feel more beautiful now, because I just keep growing and growing. And until I actually leave my body and go to another one or go to another place,
Absolutely.
I'm growing.
all on this learning
I'm
curve,
learning.
right? All the lessons we're learning
Yeah.
and augmenting together. We're all on this journey together.
Absolutely.
Folks, thank you so much for another beautiful week. Again, how do we find you? Chef Be Live.
My website is www.chefbelive, that's CHEFBELIVE.com. And you can find out events that I'm doing. You can see testimonials from celebrities. You can get my ebook there. You can see the food porn.
Nice.
You can see like all kinds of cool stuff about what I'm doing there, and it's just like really fun. I love this life that I'm living. Thank you so much, Greg. This has been a wonderful experience.
Same here. Look forward to
Appreciate
seeing
it.
you. And just so you know, you can also listen to this episode and get the link to Chef's right on accessnradio.com. Go to radio shows. I'm Gregory Foster. We're going to close with Shiva's Dance. Make it a wonderful week.
Yeah.